Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome folks, Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another mini preview, and today we are talking about Wandering Galaxies from Plaid Hat Games. Now this is a mini preview because I've never actually seen it in Meat Space. I was not sent a copy of it. Plaid has not asked me to do this. I don't know if they're going to put it on the campaign page, I have no idea. But I have become buddies with the designer, Jerry Hawthorne. We are good gamer digital buddies. And he's the designer on this one. And he offered, knowing that I really enjoyed Freelancers and I enjoyed Forgotten Waters, he offered to let me do some digital playtesting with him over the past several months. So I've played a whole bunch of different scenarios in this game, not a whole bunch, maybe 4, 5, something like that. And I also just recently got to do a demo of kind of what people will be able to see at Gen Con with the full voice acting and all of that. And because I was such a fan of the first 2 games, I wanted to make a little video about this and tell you what my impressions are. And again, keep in mind, I've never actually played this in the physical version. And so what this game is like Forgotten Waters and Freelancers, is mostly a story game. You are a group of ne'er-do-wells, and in this case you are flying your ship around the galaxy and doing odd jobs and all those kinds of things. And just like in the other games, there's a website or app that tells the story, and you get to kind of make choices as you go. So, oh no, I think it's this, and we're going to do this thing. It's going to tell you what happens, what's going to go on in the story, and then what type of checks you need to do. However, unlike the previous games, where when those checks came up you would roll dice, in this game you are actually doing deck building. You'll draw 3 cards out of your deck, and you're looking for matching symbols. And as you go through the game, you'll get opportunities to improve your deck. So it is true deck building as you're playing through this game. Also, in this particular one, at least my understanding is, your character can carry over from mission to mission to mission. In fact, I played the same character like all 4 times, and so I actually got to kind of do some upgrades and stuff. And it's a little bit of a change from the previous version. And if it's not obvious from the artwork that I showed at the beginning, this is a game where you are in space. And again, all kinds of zany wackiness going on. So kind of jumping right into it, what do I like about this game? First, I think the story, as before, is zany, it is funny, it is entertaining, it's interesting, and it is impeccably voice acted with wonderful atmospheric sound and all of those things. Just very, very, very clever. And if anything, the app, website, whatever it is potentially even better than it was in the past. Now, it may just be that I've never figured it out, but you can control the speed of the voiceover. Now, maybe you could have done that before and I just never saw it, but in this particular instance when I was playing the other day, when I knew that Jerry knew the story, I just kind of was like, I wonder if I could speed this up so he's not just sitting there waiting. And I was able to do that, which is very cool. You also get to kind of pick your first player token, which actually changes some of the sounds you get in the app, and I'm sure that's new. And it just seems like it runs even smoother than before. Next thing I'm going to say is, this is the most gamer of the 3 games in this series. I think you have the most agency over what you're doing with the deck building, and you have the ability to kind of stress out and maybe take a bad card into your deck, but then add some bonuses what other people are doing. You really feel like you have more control over the game in this one than in the other 2. And as a result, this is the most complex version of the game so far, and it is allowing you to really feel like you are having more of an impact. I think in Forgotten Waters, as I said, you're kind of just there, you're playing the story. And again, I really like Forgotten Waters. And in Freelancers, I said, well, you know, this one, the way you're getting the different dice you're counting, you have a little more control. I feel like you really have control in this one. And the way you are getting different item cards that are going to be boosting certain stats, or you can throw that card away for even more of a bonus. There's all these little tags that you have everywhere that is, in particular, if you're doing a hunt check, if you have this particular character that has the hunt keyword, they get even an extra bonus. It's just very, very well done. It seems like so far they've taken everything from the first 2 games and kept what's really, really good about it, and they're adding a little more stuff for the heavier hobby gamer. Very, very clever. I like the way that works. In general, if you know me, you know I don't like deck building very much, and that's because so often when you do a deck building game, you don't get to cycle your cards very much. And this one, you do. You definitely cycle through your cards regularly, and especially if you're able to keep that deck over from game to game. I'm not fully clear how that works, but if that's true, then it's even more times you're cycling through the deck. Really, really appreciate that. And the last thing I want to say is, my biggest complaint about Freelancers and Forgotten Waters was, it just isn't as fun at low player count. And I played most of this 2-player, and we both were able to easily control 2 different characters but using one deck. And it's an apprentice mode or something like that, and it really works well. I find it works better in this game than in either of the other 2. And now that might be because you have more agency over your deck and you're using the deck and it feels like you're doing more, but it really, really works well. And this would be the first one that I would consider playing solo. As opposed, whereas the others, it's just, if you're doing that, you're just kind of listening to the story. But this one, it feels like you're really making some good choices here. So what are my quibbles with the game? Well, the first one is probably going to be a pro for most of you. It doesn't have the Mad Lib style backstories that the first 2 games did. I loved those. They were so dumb and so great. I loved it, but those are gone. You still have various options of what your story might be as you go through and you create your character and you have questions that you answer, and then depending on how you answer them, boom, you get a different backstory that comes with a different item. But I miss the Mad Libs. Can we have like a Mad Lib expansion or something? Sad about it. The next thing that I'll say is, even though I've said that this is the most gamer of these games, it's still about the story. Right? You don't come to this game if you're not interested in the story. And if you're going to get behind the silliness and the wackiness and going off, and I'm not going to do any spoilers because I don't know what's going to be in the first scenario, but in doing crazy things, and you're not here to listen to the voice acting, then this is not going to be the game that you want. This is not so much more mechanic driven than the others that suddenly yes, I play this game for the mechanics only. No, of course you don't. The mechanics work, and it's some of the better deck building for me, because again, I don't love deck building, but I think it really works. It's good deck building, it's fun, but if you're not here for the story, this is not for you. And I think that should be obvious, but again, I just want to point that out and throw that out there, because really I don't have many quibbles about the game, because quite frankly, I think it is a continual improvement as each of these games come out. And if you go back and watch my Forgotten Waters video, you'll know I liked it. And every successive version of this, they take some of the things that are quibbles that I have and they get stripped away. And now we're here with Wandering Galaxies, which I think is just really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm eternally grateful that Jerry has taken the time to let me kind of play this digitally with him several times. So there you have it, folks. That is Wandering Galaxies. I think if you liked Forgotten Waters and you liked Freelancers, this is a must-buy, period. It is different genre, different story, same fun, different mechanics. I also think that if you are someone that looked at the first game and said, there's just not enough game going on, then this might be the one for you, because there's some game in here. Like, I really felt like I was making tough choices, and I like that. At the same time, this is a game that you can play with anybody. You can play it with your kids. You can play it with other gamers. I think they have really knocked this one out of the park and are continually improving on this genre that they've created. So, there you have it, folks. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.